Okay, so Austin just made a list you probably didn't expect to see. We ranked 4th in the entire country for the biggest home price decrease over the past year. Not 44th, not 14th, 4th. Now, depending on who you ask, that's either terrifying or it's the best news Austin buyers have heard in the last 4 years. And today, I want to show you which one of it is actually true, because headlines don't tell the full story. I'm Sagoon with the Austin Report and Sedai Homes. And if you've been sitting on the sidelines wondering whether now is the best time to buy in Austin, or if you're a homeowner trying to figure out what your property is actually worth right now, this video is for you. Let's get into it. Let's start with the raw numbers, because that's where it gets interesting. The median sale price across the Austin metro area right now is sitting at $426,220. That's a 3% decrease compared to last year. And when you zoom out from the peak in May of 2022, when the median prices hit $550,000, we've come down nearly 24.5%. Can you believe it? That is real money. That is over $125,000 off peak pricing. And now, here's what the correction looks like, broken down county by county, because Austin is not just one market. It's 5 overlapping markets, and they're behaving very differently right now. In Travis County, home sales are actually up 4% year by year, with about 1,200 homes sold last month. And then you see the median prices came down 4% to just under $500,000, and there are over 5,000 active listings on the market, with pending sales up to nearly 16%. Can you believe that? And that pending sale number is really important, and I will come back to this in this video. Over in Williamson County, sales barely grew at about 1.2%. Median prices dipped almost 2% to $410,000, and there are over 3,200 active listings. And then you have Hays County, which is actually an outlier here, interestingly enough. It was the only Central Texas county where prices rose up in March, up 0.8% to around $381,000. And if you're looking for relative value and some insulation from the correction, Hays County deserves a closer look. And if you like to go further out, places like Bastrop are sitting at over 10 months of inventory, with prices closer to $220,000. And now that's a complete different opportunity set. So when people say Austin housing market is crashing, what they're really saying is the post-pandemic fever broke down. And depending on where you're buying and at what price point, this correction is hitting differently. So let me just be honest with you here. because I think the word crash is doing a lot of heavy lifting in these headlines, and it deserves a reality check. Austin medium home prices have fallen to roughly $400,000, which is down about 27% from its peak in May of 2022. But that 2022 peak was driven by pandemic era migration, low interest rates near 3%, which was not sustainable. And here's some context. Even at today's prices, Austin homes are still about 7% higher than they were before the pandemic in 2019. The 25-year compounding appreciation rate for Austin sits at 4.5% annually. So this isn't a collapse, this is a reset. The market ran way too hot. It's cooling down and it's finding a more honest floor. What's actually happening is a recalibration. We're seeing more rational timelines, realistic negotiations, and deals that make sense for both sides. That's not a bad sign. That's actually what a healthy market looks like. The other data point that keeps getting buried in these scary headlines is pending sales. There were 3,557 pending sales in March, which is a 15% increase year over year. And buyers are not running away from Austin. They're coming back into the market. The demand is there, and people are just getting smarter about how they buy in the first place. You cannot talk about Austin housing in 2026 without talking about rates, because rates are the variable that changes the whole equation. In early 2025, mortgage rates were hovering just about 7%. Right now, we're close to 6.1%, and many qualified buyers are seeing mid to upper 5% rates without permanent buy downs. That shift matters more than more people realize. Let me put the real numbers. A home at $440,000 with a 20% down at 6.5% gives you about $2,800 with principal and interest. Right now, in the Austin market, sellers are offering anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 in concessions on a regular basis. You can use these concessions to buy down your rate, reduce closing costs, or put cash back in your pocket. That kind of leverage has not existed in this market since before 2020. So let's talk strategy. If you're a buyer, here's what the data is actually telling you. First, homes are sitting in the market at an average of 85 days right now. That's not a typo, 85 days. 2 years ago, homes were gone in 48 hours with 10 offers over asking. You now have time to think, time to inspect, time to negotiate. This is a complete different buying experience. Austin's inventory is sitting at 5.4 months right now, which puts it in the balanced market range. But when you factor in the days on market and the number of price reductions happening, it tips towards the buyers. Second, if you're in the 400,000 to 600,000 range, that's a sweet spot for selection and negotiating power right now. Supply has expanded significantly in that range, and sellers are motivated. Third, don't sleep on new construction. Builders right now are offering rate buy downs and closing cost credits to move inventory. Just make sure you compare the preferred lender terms to the outside lenders. You always have the right to use your own lender, and it often could save you some money. And fourth, get pre-approved before you start shopping. Not pre-qualified, pre-approved. In a market where motivated sellers want to close quickly, showing up is ready to have a competitive advantage. If you want to talk through a specific situation, that's what I do at Sedai Homes. Link in the description to my calendar. Let's reach out. I can run the numbers and we can talk scenarios. So here's my bottom line on all of this. Austin's housing market is not crashing. it's correcting. And for buyers who have been locked out on this market for the past 4 years, that correction is actually a window. Lower prices, more inventory, motivated sellers, negotiating power you haven't had since 2019. Rates that, while it's not at pandemic lows, are coming down and can be refinanced later. The people who are going to win in this market are the ones who do the homework now, get their financing in order, and move when the deal makes sense for their life, not when the headlines say it's safe. Waiting for the perfect conditions in real estate is how you miss the market entirely. So, I want to hear from you. Are you in the market right now as a buyer, a seller, or just watching and waiting? Drop it in the comments down below, because this conversation in the comments on these videos is genuinely how I know what to cover next. If this video helped you understand what is happening right now in the Austin real estate, share with someone who's been asking you about the market. And if you want to work directly with me on buying or selling in the Austin area, the link to my Calendly is in the description. I'll see you on the next one. Subscribe to weekly Austin market updates and have a good day.